Hello, good morning. How is everyone doing? I'm Maisha T. Hill. I'm grateful to be here with each and every one of you. Every morning we read Heal Your Way Forward, and today we are still in chapter 1 on page 27. So we are reading Heal Your Way Forward, and we are reading chapter 1, and we are on page 27. Make sure that's pinned. Good morning. How you doing? Every morning I come and I read from my hit book, Kill Your Way Forward, The Co-Conspirator's Guide to an Anti-Racist Future. This book is a bestseller on all of the charts, and we're going to read it together. I'm only got a few minutes today. So we're going to start on the top of page 28, and we're going to go to about 29. So we'll read 2 pages this afternoon. I hope you all had a great weekend. This will live on our socials and on my YouTube channel. So we're going to read today. If you have your book, Heal Your Way Forward, you want to go to page 28. So what I'm doing as I'm reading the book is I'm not just reading the book, I'm also giving you all some context as to how it connects to today. Because part of healing our way forward is looking back at the lessons we need to learn and going forward. And so what I've been doing is I have been reading it, giving some context, giving some information as to how it connects to the present moment, and also inviting you to go ahead and pre order your paperback of Heal Your Way Forward. We got a lot of good things going on with the book this year, a couple virtual book stops, a couple of IRL book stops and workshops. So stay tuned, keep your calendars fresh and open. Lots of community building around this. So just giving context to what we read yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about anti Blackness, and let me pull it up. And I gave you all a few journal questions to think about, and I'll start there. And I'll start at anti Blackness. So, anti Blackness is just one of the perpetual conditions just designed by the system, and the system sees anything outside of its designated operating system as a threat, working to eliminate it by any means necessary. My Black foremothers knew the only way to be free from oppression was to liberate the entire collective. That none of us are free until all of us are free, and that's Fannie Lou Hamer, as true as 2 plus 2 is 4. And the system wants us to prioritize the liberation of some over the emancipation of the whole. But our healing journeys are forever bound to one another's tracing back toward the past and reaching into the future. And on this healing journey, we must interrogate ourselves and ask, and here are the questions. Are you aware of your unconscious and conscious biases and behaviors? How are we sharing our resources to allow our liberation to be tied to one another? Is it a privilege to seek joy on our journey? Are we making space for grief? And do we seek joy and pleasure, or are we constantly on the battlefield, experiencing racial battle fatigue at every second? So many questions and unknowns exist on this journey. And we're here at the top of page 28. And the truth is, there are some things we may never know. We won't be here for the end of the story. We are just here at the beginning of the liberation story. And so we, or you as a white person, have to make space for the tension of non closure. Because a witness always wants an answer or proof via scientific methodologies, we reject scenarios that do not offer closure. The dominant systems require closure, which is the fairy tales must have happy endings, even after they project violence, death, and fear. We are a culture of wanting answers on demand. When we can't get what we want, we run to Google. And when Google doesn't help, we ask our friends. And if our friends don't tell us an answer or the answer we want to hear, we keep searching outside of ourselves to find closure. We are in an active state of denial, denying facts over fiction, enforcing rather than allowing. The truth is, part of healing means we learn to allow the acceptance of non-closure. The key word being acceptance. The Serenity Prayer serves as my constant reminder that acceptance is possible, moving beyond doubt and denial. The original Serenity Prayer was written by Carl Paul Reinhold Niebuhr, a white American Reformed theologian. Because I understand the nuances of patriarchy and Christianity, I've adapted the prayer in a way that is non binary and genderless. Because me personally, I believe any type of Holy Trinity is the duality of the Mother, Father, and the Twin Spirit, which is non binary. This Holy Spirit is a non binary entity that flows through our reality. So, source, God, higher power, or community. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. We're on page 29. The reality is, most folks don't want to accept the unknown or have control of their life choices or decisions. However, in the work of healing trauma and repairing and moving forward in solidarity, we must allow ourselves the grace to get things wrong and for things to be unresolved. You can't unlearn a lifetime of socialized beliefs in a day, but you can take continuous baby steps towards a new future, leaning into discomfort and the acceptance of non closure. But this work requires self awareness. If you aren't aware of how you, too, even with the best of intentions, are perpetuating oppression, you will continue to be a performative ally. I know it's a term that makes a lot of good white folks uncomfortable, but if we can't be aware of where we are working to alleviate perceptions rather than unlearn perceptions, it will never be conspiratorial. It will always be performative. Waking up from performative allyships requires us to drop into the awareness. Like the movie The Matrix, Neo saw the sign that something had to change. He dreamt of alternative universes and knew there was something more to life than what he was living. Eventually, he followed the white rabbit, which led him to Morpheus and gave the decision to wake up to awareness. In the famous now blue pill, red pill scene, Morpheus is inviting Neo to a new level of consciousness. Can you tell I'm a Matrix fan? Morpheus says, "It's the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth." And Neo says, "What truth?" And here's Morpheus. This is my favorite part, and this is where I'll stop today. That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you are born into bondage, into a prison you cannot smell, taste, or touch. A prison for your mind. Last week, you all, there were so many conversations of state sponsored news, state sponsored media going on strike, protesting digitally. I'm always going to ask you all, what's the strategy and who are we leaving behind when we think about protest, okay? But for Morpheus to say this, and I was starting to watch it last week with my kids, The Matrix, and it paused on the part where Morpheus says that you are a slave. Because I wonder how many of us think about oppression as a form of enslavement. What do you do when 7 millionaires get together, right? Years ago during the Industrial Revolution, this is history. Before we rewrite everything, I want us to go into a remembrance when we learned about the Industrial Revolution in school. We all in America learned about the Industrial Revolution. It was really fast. It wasn't slow. We learned about it. As some of us have gotten older, we've also learned about some of the billionaires at the time who created kind of the livelihood of the Industrial Revolution, which changed the way that how labor was done in America, how school began, because there is a quote that says, "We don't want a nation of thinkers." So that's why school is designed after the modern factory setting and how schools have changed over time. For example, I'm a generation that had recess twice a day for 30 minutes. And now we have generations that have lunch and recess for 30 minutes out of their day. Literally, kids are going to school from high school here is from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. High schoolers are going to school from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Middle school is going to school from 8 to 3. And elementary school is going to school from 9 to 3. And recess is 30 minutes. That's it. Doesn't that sound like a 9 to 5 job to you? You go for 6 or 7 hours, get 1 30-minute break because legally at 6 hours you have to have a break. Our modern system, the way that things are built and the way that they're going, it was made this way. It is a form, oppression is a form of enslavement. And for all of you who aren't understanding in a white body that you are oppressed, you are the oppressor and you are oppressed. Just like I am oppressed and I can also be an oppressor. And that's why I've always said that this work is a deep wake up. It is a deep reprogramming of your conscious reality. You think you are seeing things the way that you have been socialized to seeing it until you wake up fully as a person in a white body and really see this for what it is, an invitation to deep healing, an invitation to reprogram your conscious mind. You will continue on the path that you have been on this whole time. And so today we read Heal Your Way Forward. It's a little short than usual. We read from go to the top of page 28, 27. We started at the bottom of 27 and we ended at the top of page 30. Tomorrow, we'll be at the very last chapter, which is page 30, and we'll go through this week. I'll ask the questions live. There are 3 questions, and we'll end this week on chapter 1. So it looks like we can do about 1 chapter a week, and then we'll deep dive on the reflection questions at the end of the chapter. The one thing I love about Heal Your Way Forward was it comes with, if you want to have a book club, your questions are there. But the great news is that we're changing book club here at CYP specifically for the book Heal Your Way Forward, where we're actually doing book clubs where we're going deeper on the questions and we're also giving you a guide to use at your book club, and also the opportunity for me to pop up at book clubs if folks are interested in hosting these Heal Your Way book clubs with me present. It's really, really exciting. I'm really excited for the rest of 2025 and the next 4 years. I know many of you are afraid of the next 4 years, but before I go, I want to read this quote for all of us to remember that rebellions are built on faith. And what else can we do but keep going? We are the tiny light in the darkest corner. I don't know who said it. It was a clip from a Star Wars fan film. I'll find the film to give accurate credit to cite my sources. I want to lead by example. And so just remember, what else can we do is to keep going. And we are the tiniest light in the darkest corner. So have faith. Faith does not come with expectations. It's just the belief in things unseen, whereas hope comes with expectations. So that's why I said faith instead of hope. And I know the whole Star Wars theme is based on hope, but I changed the words. And if you look on YouTube, you'll see I had a conversation with Michelle Watser, who was pushing back against the word hope for the moments that we live in and connected it to mindfulness. And so thank you guys so much for reading with me today. If you are someone looking for a community, there's a link to join our collective. Our collective membership is open. It will stay open until March 31st when we close for intentional community building and grounding until the fall. It's like school, right? You stay open for a little bit and then you close, and then you nurture, and then you open it again. So stay tuned for more about our collective, and there's so much more to come. We don't just show up on social media going live and giving free content. You actually can go deeper on your journey with us, and we'd love to have you. So thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to be back in like 7 minutes with Wakina Reed, and we're going to be talking about activating your activism. Peace.